Hi, welcome to today's notes on viruses. There's just a couple that we need to go over. First, viruses are considered non-living, and the main reason they are considered non-living is because they must have a host cell to reproduce. They cannot reproduce on their own. They must have a host cell. They do not grow. They are assembled inside of a body cell. Um, Basically, the virus lands and it takes over the cell and tells the cell to start making new viruses. So it hijacks the cell. The surface proteins, as we look here, these can only land on certain cell receptors. So the surface proteins have to match the cell receptors on the cells. So therefore, most viruses are very specific as to what type cells they can invade. HIV affects helper T cells of the immune system. If we look at this, we'll also see the envelope. This nuclear envelope right here is made up of phospholipids and phosphoproteins. And the reason this is important is this is why when they ask you to wash your hands for 20 seconds, it's because our soap will break down this envelope. And by breaking it down and then breaking down some of the other proteins and lipids inside, it basically kills the virus. But it does take about 20 seconds. So that's why they say when you wash your hands with soap for about 20 seconds. And the envelope, the biomolecules that make up the envelope are very similar to the biomolecules that make up a cell, and which is why washing your hands for 20 seconds helps prevent both bacterial and viral infections. Okay, so viruses fall into two broad categories, and it's based on how they reproduce. There are two cycles for virus replication, the lysogenic and the lytic. Now, all viruses go through the lytic cycle. Some viruses go through another cycle, the lysogenic cycle, as well. Best way to remember this is that the longer the name, the longer the cycle. So the lysogenic, the symptoms may take time, usually even years to show up. Usually it's over 30 days, but in the case of HIV and a few others, it can be a couple of years before they show up. Generally, there are no symptoms during the lysogenic phase. And HIV, again, symptoms may not occur for 5 years. Also, lysogenic viruses, sometimes they come and go. Herpes is a lysogenic virus. When it's in the lysogenic state, there are no symptoms. When it comes out into the lytic state, there are symptoms. So herpes tends to be is considered a lysogenic virus. Those that only go through the lytic cycle, usually onset is quick, usually within 2 weeks or less. Examples of this are the influenza, the common cold, are the ones we're most familiar with. So if viruses are immobile and they can't move, then how are they spread? If you're sick with a virus and you sneeze or cough, then basically you are spewing that everywhere. If you have it on your hands, when you tried to cover up said sneeze or cough, or into your elbow and then you rubbed your elbow, when you touch a doorknob, some of the viruses will wind up on the door handle. Somebody else comes up behind you and touches the door handle, and now they have picked up the virus. Once they've picked up the virus, they rub their face, get something to eat, and now the virus has entered their body. Most viruses enter our bodies through our nose, our mouth, or our eyes. This concludes this portion of the assignment. So now you can go complete an Edpuzzle and a brief reading assignment. I miss all of y'all and hope to see you soon. And if you need me, I am in Google Meets and just find my office hours. Thank you and have a great week.